War of the Bounty Hunters is a crossover comic event that encompasses the main Star Wars comic, Darth Vader, Bounty Hunters, Dr. Aphra, and the War of the Bounty Hunters main story. It details the events between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. It is slated as a Boba Fett-centric series. In today's Mandalorian Monday, I will be reviewing War of the Bounty Hunters number 3, 4 LOM and Zuckuss number 1, Darth Vader number 15, and Star Wars number 16. It sounds like a lot, but I will do it in a way that it all blends together in one story, just as the comics have done. So, for this Mandalorian Monday, I bring you the War of the Bounty Hunters comic crossover event, today, on Star Wars Fanatic. While Boba Fett was stopped to get Han Solo's carbonite casing repaired, Boba joined a tournament to help pay for his needs. While he was away, Han Solo was stolen and Boba Fett's contact was killed. Invitations went out all over the galaxy to the biggest players in the underworld crime syndicates. The Hutts, Black Sun, Crimora, and even the Empire, to name a few. They were all brought to one lavish party auction place to bid on Han Solo. It was later revealed that Kira was now leading the Crimson Dawn Syndicate and she is responsible for the auction. During the auction, Dr. Aphra finds a way in and decides she is going to steal as much as she can from the guests. Leia, Chewbacca, and Lando gain entry but stay in the shadows, and Darth Vader storms in and claims Solo as his. Even though Jabba the Hutt has won the bid, Vader reminds the Hutt that he only lives because Vader allows it. In the background, Boba Fett recruits the help of Dr. Aphra, and by recruit, I mean he threatens to expose her to everyone there. Boba Fett is set on retrieving Solo and getting his bounty from Jabba, as originally planned. While sneaking around the party, Boba runs into Leia, Chewbacca, and Lando. It's a really awkward moment because it wasn't long ago that they were tracked by the bounty hunter and they watched as Boba flew off with Han Solo in his cargo hold on Cloud City. Leia draws her blaster and Lando reminds her that they will all be dead if she shoots. Boba Fett will have to be dealt with quietly. Lando gives Chewbacca the go-ahead to kill Fett by hand. As Chewie holds Fett in the air by his throat, Boba points to the braids adorning his armor. He then tells Chewbacca that he will add his own hair to this collection. This infuriates the Wookiee, but he is quickly subdued by way of Boba Fett's flamethrower. He literally catches Chewbacca on fire. It's a lot of hair smell. In the meantime, Zuckuss is reeling from his own defeat against Boba Fett. Boba Fett had kicked Zuckuss off a bridge and left him for dead, just as he walked off with the head of Zuckuss's partner, 4LOM. Now, Zuckuss is confused and looking for his droid counterpart. He finds him, but he isn't the same. 4LOM's head has been attached to a spider-like droid and reprogrammed to kill Zuckuss. During the fight, Zuckuss realizes that his only friend is gone. It's a big blow to the bounty hunter. During the party, Kira decides to challenge Darth Vader as he is making claim to the frozen Han Solo. Just as she did in Solo: A Star Wars Story, she shows her fighting skills as she was trained in Terras Kasi by the former Sith Lord Darth Maul. She didn't realize how powerful Vader is and gets beaten. She doesn't die, but Vader is clearly the victor, and he tells her that her skills are exceptional, but she does not wield the Force. At this time, Leia had called Luke to get his assistance. Luke responds and heads to the side of the party. As he approaches, Vader has his officers put him through to a secured line with Luke, so just Luke and Vader are talking. He tells Luke that if he doesn't come meet him, that he will cut Solo in half. Luke was feeling empowered before this moment and began gaining confidence that he knew how Vader fought and how he could actually beat him. He then snaps out of it and turns his Red 5 X-Wing around. He tells Leia he can't do it, and he flees the scene. Okay, so that brings us up to speed on the story so far, and I'm loving it. But I do have some issues on how it is going. I like that it's showing the entire story through different points of view, but it does seem to drag the story on unnecessarily. Not that that's a bad thing, but it seems that more focus could be given on moving the story forward. This party scene and auction have been dragging on for a few issues of each of the storylines involved. It's time to move away from the party, please. The dialogue to me seems a bit clunky, but I guess that's what happens when you make a novel-length story into comic format. The art is beautiful in all the issues, and I really get the sense that the original actors are portraying the roles in the comics due to the art form. The likenesses are equally beautiful, and it made me miss Carrie Fisher even more. It's hard to just sum it up in a few sentences, so I won't. I'll break down each of the main characters involved, but I will save my favorite character for last, Boba Fett. Starting with 4LOM and Zuckuss. Okay, well, it's just Zuckuss, really, because 4LOM is only a reprogrammed head sent to destroy Zuckuss over a botched assassination attempt in the past. They were supposed to kill one bug guy, but he had a twin and they killed the wrong bug guy, and now the meaner bug guy wants revenge. I was really sure that Boba Fett had killed Zuckuss and 4LOM in the second War of the Bounty Hunters issue, but it turns out that both survived. But the real story is with Zuckuss in this issue. Apparently 4LOM and Zuckuss weren't just partners that worked together for years, but they were really good friends. Bug bounty hunter and bug droid bounty hunter. It makes sense. But I really felt bad for Zuckuss when he realized his friend was gone. He even mentioned that 4LOM was his only friend and the only one who understood him. It was a really depressing moment for the guy, and you couldn't help but feel bad for him, even though he tried to kill Boba Fett just a couple issues before. Darth Vader was as Darth Vader always has been. This is mine, and I will take it from you if I darn well please. He doesn't suffer fools, and he put Jabba the Hutt in his place. I would have liked to have seen the off-screen rematch of Luke and Vader, but I think it would have taken away from their fight in Return of the Jedi. So I think having Luke flee was the right choice, but the wrong way to do it. Not that I think Luke should have charged in, lightsaber blazing, but the whole time he sensed Leia and Chewie were in trouble, all he could think about was helping his friends. The same happened in The Empire Strikes Back, but Luke at least tried, even though he failed. I guess I can't be too hard on him. He's just lost his hand to Vader not long before this. He also had a vision of Vader cutting him in half before he decided to run off. I just always saw Luke as less than a coward. Whiny? Yes, and he continues that in this series, and the main Star Wars issues. Remember, this is before his confidence is as high as we see it in Return of the Jedi. In the Rebel trio at the party, Lando is the one with the smarts about him. Leia and Chewie want to make a ruckus and kill Boba Fett, but Lando stops them. But Lando is also Lando. He doesn't want to do anything to stick his neck out just to get his head cut off. He uses his experiences to gauge the situation as too dangerous to be seen. Could you imagine if Vader saw Lando helping the rebels after Vader left Lando alive on Cloud City? It wouldn't end well for any of them. Lando knows this and proceeds with caution. Kira was a surprise to be sure the first time we saw her. A few issues back, we see her as the one holding the auction and as the leader of Crimson Dawn. It was a shock at first, but it made sense. We never got a sequel to Solo, a Star Wars story, and this sums up what would have happened after that sequel. Han's former crush now auctioning Han Solo off to thugs. I think this may have severed the crush for him, I'm not sure. When he finds out about it, that is. Now, for my favorite character, Boba Fett. What's not to love about this guy? When he uses his flamethrower to catch Chewbacca on fire, you know he is ruthless. Chewbacca is a loved character, and to see him taken down like that was heartbreaking. But we now know Boba is the best at what he does, and he doesn't care who we as fans love. Neither do the writers, apparently. I do think it was a little over the top when Boba explained the Wookiee braids that adorn his suit. It was part of the mystery and mystique of the character back in the day. But now we know what they are for certain. I just never saw Boba Fett as the bragging type. Overall, I love the series. It tells a vivid story of the trouble Boba Fett had just trying to return Solo to Jabba the Hutt. With that said, I don't know how they will conclude this to match up with Boba Fett being in the palace as a guest of Jabba the Hutt. I mean, Jabba is now out 1,000,000 credits. Credits Jabba would later pay Boba Fett for Solo. The only way I can see the stories aligning is if Boba is able to secure Solo from Darth Vader and sell him back to Jabba the Hutt. as they originally agreed. There's one thing I am slightly disappointed in though. This series was billed as Boba Fett centric. The first couple issues delivered that, but now even the main story is shifting to everyone else involved, with a high concentration on Kira. The last issues come out in September and October. I really hope they get back to it being about Boba Fett again in those 2 issues. It just seems a bit watered down as far as Boba's story goes. Sure, Kira was fun to see again for a minute, but end her already. Are they setting us up for something in the future? Is she going to want revenge if Boba secures Solo from Darth Vader? Honestly, I'd just like to see a conclusion to her character in this comic series. Her auction was a failure, and the arrival of Darth Vader should prove that she is unable to keep criminal underworld activity a secret from the Empire. It doesn't help that she invited the Empire there, but Vader comes in threatening everyone and going unchallenged for the most part. I'd like to see Han Solo return to her after he thaws and kill her. But I'd be really happy if Boba Fett just kills her to prove a point to the thugs present. Don't cross Boba Fett. It won't end well for any of you. Oh, and the other hunter that calls Boba Fett pup, please stop. You're cheapening his character. He isn't a child nor anyone's pup. He has been a loner most of his life. Well, that does it for my review of the War of the Bounty Hunters crossover comic series so far. What do you think? Have you read it? If so, do you like it? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to discuss it with you, and please don't take this review as negative. I really do like the series. I just think a couple things could be improved. Thank you for watching, and remember, this is the way. The only way.